Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I just thought I'd return to you for this premiere video for August 21st. So I hope you will enjoy this premiere video when it comes out on Thursday for the new 3 Days Grace record, Alienation, that I got a chance to listen to a couple times to see what I was going to think of it overall. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for the 12 tracks of this 41 minute and 40-second album and let you know my thoughts on Alienation overall. So let's dive into their 8th studio album. So this is the follow-up to Explosions, and I'm glad that Adam Gontier is back in the band. Because this actually is, which I will talk more as I go through the review on what I think of the record overall. But let's get started with Dominate. This track has grown on me. Would I say it's their best track? Yeah, I can argue that it is. It is a pretty strong track in its own way. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5 as of now because I've grown a liking to it now. Even though the "Here We Fucking Go" thing is a little cringy and some of the verses are kind of like, I still think the track did have a lot of great moments with Adams singing in the bridge. And nothing more dangerous than something to lose. Nothing more dangerous than something to prove, nothing more dangerous than nothing to lose, or whatever. Or some lyric like that. I've heard the song so many times, it's just escaped my mind for a second. But overall, and I'm sorry about the ding a moment ago, it was my messenger. Overall, I think Dominate is a very strong track, and it's getting a 5 out of 5. I've grown a liking to it as of now. It's a grower. Apologies is a strong track. It's a 5 out of 5 for sure. I think both Matt and Adams harmonizing in this is really good. So it did very well for how it sounded. One of the best singles I've listened to from this record. Mayday is still a very strong track to this day. Was the lead single to gear up for this album's announcement, but Apologies was the one that announced the album's release date and all that. But overall, I think Mayday is a very catchy track, very enjoyable. Definitely rocks for sure. Definitely a great song to enjoy at one of their live shows. And I really enjoyed this 3 Days Grace track. 5 out of 5. Kill Me Fast is another personal favorite. I really enjoyed this one for how it sounded. The melodic vocals from Adam and Matt are pretty solid. I mean, Matt didn't really do much for this track to offer enough, but it still was a good track. A very good song. So I think the harmonizing from both their vocals did. Um, yeah, so I just think this track did very well for how it sounded. So 5 out of 5. It was the last single for the record before this record comes out this upcoming Friday, August 22nd. But it overall did very well. In Waves is a very good track. I really enjoyed this with I Lost You in the Waves, Lost You when the Tide Breaks, and all that. Adam's vocals shine in this track very well. It's my personal favorite track. I really enjoyed the headbanging moments of this song with the drumming and guitar work. My personal favorite song is this song. There's quite a lot of great tracks on this record, but overall, I think this has to go down as one of my personal favorites. I mean, it starts off melodic with the verses, but it picks up as you keep going through the track, and even Matt's vocals shine in this track too. So both their vocals resonated with this track in a good way. Alienation's a very good track too. I wasn't sure how I was gonna think of this track as the title track, what I was gonna think of this track when I listened to it, and overall, it did very well to impress me. It's a shorter track. It's like under 3 minutes, but it does very well with the execution. So it deserves a 5 out of 5. Never Ordinary featuring Lindsey Sterling. Um, Very strong track. Really enjoyed this one. I think Lindsey Sterling's violin work in this is very good. And she does backing vocals too from time to time. But it overall executed very well with both Matt and Adams harmonizing in this with their vocals. It executed very well. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this. 5 out of 5. Death Wish is a very good track. Really enjoyed this one for how it sounded. And overall, Adams' vocals in it really shined. Matt's vocals pretty much shined through this track too. And just with the execution of the guitar work and drum work, it did very well. I was really impressed with this track. Granted, I wasn't sure what I was going to think of it at first because it sounded like it ripped off a song from the 1X album, like My Time of Dying. But it still did pretty well for how it sounded. That's how it sounded at first, but I started getting used to the track as you progress through it. 5 out of 5. Don't Want to Go Home Tonight is a pretty safe song. I do enjoy it. It's going to get a 4.75 out of 5. It's not one of my particular favorite tracks, but it's a pretty solid track in its own way. I think with how Matt and Adams harmonizing was in this track, did fairly well for the most part. So, it's a solid track. It's good enough to keep you going through the record. In Cold Blood is my personal favorite track too. Definitely a banger. Definitely enjoyed this track. It's a 5 out of 5 for sure. I think Matt and Adam's singing, harmonizing was really catchy. And overall, all the vocals from both of them, the verses are very strong. The chorus is the highlight, for sure. When Adam sings it, when Matt sings it, it does very well. They're harmonizing through this record. Entire record did very well. So, yeah, 5 out of 5. The Power is a pretty solid song. It's not one of my favorites, but it's a pretty good song for how it sounds. I mean, the drumming in it's really good. But it's just the chorus is kind of not that memorable. But it's overall okay to listen through. Not my personal favorite track, but it's good enough to give a 4.75 out of 5. Pretty safe song for how it sounds. Not the best, but not the worst. And finally, Another Relapse is a 5-minute outro to the record. It's a 5-minute song to close out this record, and it overall did very well. One of my favorite tracks too to close out this record. And I really enjoyed this track with Adam and Matt's harmonizing through this song. The verses were catchy, the chorus was very catchy, and I liked the fade out with the drumming and all that. The fade at the end of the song was really good, where they fade out the melody and the music. It does very well for how it sounds. So 5 out of 5 goes to Another Relapse. Overall, production, mixing, and execution-wise, I think 3 Days Grace, Alienation. Sorry, my eye was itching again. It's been irritated lately. I don't know why. It's just something was making my eye hurt a little with something that was itching it. That was a little itchy, but to get back on track, 3 Days Grace, Alienation. Very good record. I really enjoyed this record. It's probably going to go down as one of my favorite albums of 2025. I think 3 Days Grace pulled it off for what they went for with this one. I'm glad Adam's back in the band because structurally, production-wise, and execution and mixing, this record did very well. I was more impressed with this than Explosions. Explosions wasn't bad, but it wasn't the best record they put out. But this is an improvement. A big improvement. because the songs really do very well with both Adam and Matt's harmonizing. And overall, I think this is going to be probably in the top 10 of the best albums of 2025. So I really enjoyed this. And if I were to give 3 Days Grace Alienation a score, it's getting a 9.5 out of 10. A really strong record. Definitely held its own. I mean, the only songs I had issues with was Don't Want to Go Home Tonight. That was a solid one. It wasn't terrible, but it sounded nice. Just wasn't my favorite. And also The Power. Alienation would have been a song I would have put as the least favorite, but it wasn't the worst track. It did have some good drumming, and the verses were pretty strong too. So overall, I think this record held its own and did a very good job. They did a very good job with this record, 3 Days Grace did, and I personally love this record. I will definitely remember this record for 2025. Definitely a favorite album to put in your best albums of 2025. So, 9.5 out of 10 for Alienation by 3 Days Grace. Thank you guys for watching this album review this early afternoon.